From the outside, Song Hye Kyo's life looks like a flawless fairy tale. A face adored across continents, a career filled with classics, a reputation polished by elegance and grace. But in the harsh reality of Korean stardom, where perfection is demanded, privacy is punished, and every emotion is magnified under the spotlight, even the brightest fairy tale carries a shadow. And for Song Hye Kyo, the shadow has been following her since the very beginning of her rise to fame. She stepped into the entertainment world young, almost too young to understand what it means to be watched, judged, adored, and criticized all at once. While most teenagers were figuring out normal life, she was being shaped into a national sweetheart, a symbol of innocence, beauty, and purity. Her breakout roles in Autumn in My Heart and Full House didn't just make her the star of Korea, they turned her into Asia's favorite heroine. But rapid fame is never gentle, and fame that arrives without warning comes with a price no one can fully prepare for. As her popularity skyrocketed, something else rose with it, an invisible wall of expectations. People didn't just admire her, they projected fantasies onto her. They wanted her to be open, cheerful, bubbly, expressive, not because that was who she was, but because that was who the public wanted. And when she didn't match their expectations, the narratives began. The media labeled her quiet nature as coldness, her privacy as arrogance, her silence as attitude. Every small moment was twisted into something bigger. A single frown at an airport turned into Song Hye Kyo is rude. A neutral expression at an award show turned into Song Hye Kyo is ungrateful. She was never allowed to simply exist. Every breath she took was analyzed. In a world that romanticizes celebrity life, the truth is that South Korea's entertainment industry can be merciless. Being a top beauty is not just a title, it's pressure. Song Hye Kyo became the standard, the ideal face, the definition of Korean elegance. But that standard quickly turned into a cage. Every tiny detail of her appearance was examined like she was under a microscope. If she looked tired, people speculated she was entitled. If she looked serious, they accused her of being difficult. If she didn't smile enough, they concluded she had an attitude problem. It was as if the world refused to believe that even the most admired faces have days when they feel human. Her relationships became one of the hardest parts of her public life. Every time she dated, the country treated it like a national referendum. Her love life became a storyline not written by her, but by millions of strangers who believed they were entitled to her private world. When she dated co-stars, some fans accused her of being a distraction. When she didn't date, they judged her for being too picky. When she married, the country celebrated. When she divorced, the country punished. People who had never met her built narratives about her personality, motives, and emotions, none of which were based on truth. Her marriage to Song Joong-ki was one of the most romanticized unions in K-drama history. When the divorce happened, instead of compassion, she received a storm of blame. Even though no details were released publicly, the silence was enough for the public to create their own storyline. Her quietness was interpreted as guilt. Her absence from social media was interpreted as carelessness. In reality, she was simply grieving privately while the world turned her personal heartbreak into entertainment content. That divorce became less about two real human beings and more about feeding the nation's obsession with celebrity drama. Then came the tax controversy, one of the few real mistakes she publicly addressed. In 2014, issues with her tax filings were reported, and the media treated it like a national scandal. She apologized immediately, corrected everything, cooperated fully with authorities, and paid every cent required. But the headlines didn't reflect the resolution, they reflected the chaos. Anti-fans used it as proof of her character, the media amplified it as a major scandal, and people who had never filed taxes in their lives suddenly acted like financial experts. Even after the government declared the issue resolved, some people continued using it as ammunition whenever her name came up. The mistake was corrected, but the stain remained. And the harsh truth is this: when a woman is publicly criticized, society rarely lets her forget it. As if public scrutiny wasn't enough, her career choices were also constantly questioned. Whenever she took breaks, normal, healthy breaks that any actress deserves, the media twisted it into something else. They claimed she was declining roles, being difficult, or becoming irrelevant. They painted her silence as trouble, instead of acknowledging that after years of constant work, any human being would need time to rest. Meanwhile, her male counterparts took breaks without a whisper of criticism. Song Hye Kyo, however, was expected to always be visible, always flawless, always perfect. But despite the noise, despite the criticism, despite the rumors, one thing remained consistent: her talent. Whenever people doubted her, she answered with her craft. After years of scrutiny, she returned with Descendants of the Sun, proving she could command the screen like no one else. After her divorce, when the media tried to portray her as weakened or damaged, she delivered the glory, a performance so powerful, so dark, and so emotionally controlled that the world was forced to remember who she truly was: one of the greatest actresses of her generation. And while the audience was busy gossiping about her private life, Song Hye Kyo was busy redefining her career. She didn't clap back. She didn't join fan wars. She didn't post long explanations. She didn't cry on camera. She simply worked. She showed up. She delivered flawless acting, scene after scene, role after role. Her silence, once used against her, became her strength. She let her talent speak for her when words could not. The darker truth behind her success is that being too beautiful, too successful, and too loved can actually create enemies. People compared her to every new rising actress. They questioned whether she deserved her position. They analyzed her facial expressions, relationships, friendships, even her lifestyle choices. She became a measuring stick that other actresses were judged against, something she never asked for, but something the industry forced upon her. And because she was placed so high, many waited for the slightest opportunity to pull her down. Yet despite all of this, despite the rumors, the public scrutiny, the unfair criticism, Song Hye Kyo continues to stand tall. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But quietly, steadily, gracefully. She remains private not because she is cold, but because so much of her life has been taken from her without permission. She remains calm because reacting to every headline would destroy her. She remains mysterious because in a world that wants to consume everything, keeping parts of yourself hidden is a survival skill. So who is Song Hye Kyo behind the headlines? Behind the silence? Behind the criticism? She is a woman who grew up under blinding lights. A woman who made mistakes and took responsibility. A woman who loved and suffered publicly. A woman who kept working even when people wanted her to fall. A woman who endured rumors with grace. A woman who rebuilt her career not with noise, but with undeniable talent. A woman who learned that sometimes, the strongest thing you can do, is simply continue. The dark side of Song Hye Kyo is not about wrongdoing. It's not about scandals or crimes or secrets. The real dark side is the harsh reality of fame itself, a system that builds queens, then punishes them for being human. A public that demands perfection, then criticizes vulnerability. A world that worships beauty, then turns that beauty into a weapon. A society that expects celebrities to carry impossible standards, then shatters them when they fail to meet those expectations. In the end, Song Hye Kyo's story is not a tragedy, it's a testament. A testament to strength under pressure, grace under fire, silence in the face of chaos, and resilience in the face of constant judgment. She didn't survive the dark side of fame, she conquered it. And she continues to rise, proving that even in the harshest spotlight, authenticity will always outshine the noise.